Up until this time last year, I was the project manager for the Irish consultative process to the World Humanitarian Summit. I still haven't got used to that title, even though I held it for 3 years. Ireland was commended for its effort in the process it followed in the 3 years initiative leading to the WHS. Opinions on the outcome and achievements from this initiative are very widely. However, undoubtedly one of the flagship successes from the whole process was the Grand Bargain. Yet despite its success to date, it too is at risk of losing momentum and fading. Before we delve into this, it's important to set the context for our discussion. Today, there are over 65.6 million people displaced worldwide, more than at any point in history, and 6 million more than this time last year. When measured against the world's total population, 1 in every 113 people are now either an asylum seeker, internally displaced, or a refugee. 21,000 people die every day from hunger or hunger-related issues. 1 in 6 children in developing countries, roughly 1 million, are underweight. 1 in 4 of the world's children are stunted. In some developing countries, it's 1 in 3. Over 130 million people are reliant on life-saving humanitarian assistance. That's 5 million more than just 12 months ago. The frequency and severity of disasters is increasing due to climate-related disasters, violent conflicts, HIV/AIDS, and other communicable diseases and pandemics, rapid population growth and urbanization, and increased vulnerability due to poverty, hunger, unemployment, displacement, and migration. All of these challenges and more clearly affect both humanitarian and development contexts, and hence the importance of this debate. One thing we can clearly all agree on is that these issues, sadly, and at least in the short term, due to the lack of political will, are set to continue, and our collective resources and capacities to manage them are insufficient. The Grand Bargain, as we know, is divided into 10 work streams, the 10th of which is pertinent to our discussion today: enhance engagement between humanitarian and development actors. To refresh our memories, the 5 actions which signatory aid organisations and donors commit to are: number 1, use existing resources and capacities better to shrink humanitarian needs over the long term, with the view of contributing to the outcomes of sustainable development goals. Significantly increase prevention, mitigation, and preparedness for early action to anticipate and secure resources for recovery. Number 2, invest in durable solutions for refugees, internally displaced people, and sustainable support to migrants, returnees, and host receiving communities, as well as for other situations of reoccurring vulnerabilities. Number 3, increase social protection programs and strengthen national and local systems and coping mechanisms in order to build resilience in fragile contexts. 4, perform joint multi-hazard risk and vulnerability analysis and multi-year planning where feasible and relevant, with national, regional, and local coordination in order to achieve a shared vision for outcomes. And finally, 5, galvanise new partnerships that bring additional capacities and resources to crisis-affected states through multilateral development banks within their mandate, and foster innovative partnerships with the private sector. A better way of working is not about shifting funding from development to humanitarian programs, or from humanitarian to development actors. Rather, it is about working collaboratively across institutional boundaries on the basis of competitive advantage. This way of working does not deviate from the primacy of humanitarian principles. Today's reality is that development and humanitarian assistance are often required concurrently, especially in complex and protracted crises. and while they need to be complementary, humanitarian development efforts should not be confused with one another. When states are explicitly excluding portions of their population or are responsible for the harm befalling them, principled humanitarian action must be supported. Yet, where possible, development actors must also engage early and in a sustained way with humanitarian actors to bridge the humanitarian and development nexus, so that crises are more likely to end sooner and are less likely to repeat themselves.